Why Stoics never chase people. Have you ever found yourself chasing someone's attention, affection, or approval, only to feel more drained the harder you try? The Stoics understood this pain long before our modern world made it even more common. They knew that the more you run after people, the more power you give away. True strength is not found in convincing others to stay. It is found in standing firmly within yourself. Stoicism teaches us that peace begins the moment we stop forcing what does not flow naturally. When you stop chasing, you do not lose people who are meant for you. You simply stop losing yourself for people who are not. In this reflection, we will explore why Stoics never chase people, and how their quiet wisdom can help you reclaim your dignity, your calm, and your self-respect. Part 1. Chasing comes from inner lack. Stoics believe that much of human suffering begins when we depend on external things to feel whole. When you chase people, you often do so because some part of you feels incomplete without them. You may believe their attention will validate your worth. You may think their presence will remove your loneliness. You may hope their affection will finally make you feel chosen. But Stoicism asks a difficult question. Why should your peace depend on what another person chooses to give or withhold? If your value changes based on someone's response, then your life is no longer your own. It is in their hands. The Stoic understands that no person can complete what has not first been built within. If you are empty inside, even those who stay will not be enough. But if you are grounded within yourself, even those who leave cannot destroy you. This is why Stoics do not chase. They would rather strengthen their own character than beg another person to fill a void. They know that desperation attracts suffering, while wholeness creates peace. Part 2. What is not meant for you must be released. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is acceptance of reality. Not the reality we wish for, but the reality as it is. If someone pulls away, becomes distant, or shows inconsistency, the Stoic does not waste life trying to force closeness where there is none. To chase is to resist reality. It is to say, I know you are leaving, but I will try to make you stay. It is to reject the truth in front of you and cling to the fantasy in your mind. This creates pain because life rarely bends to emotional insistence. Stoics accept that not everything is meant to remain. Some people enter your life briefly to teach you a lesson, reveal a wound, or help you outgrow an old version of yourself. Their leaving is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is a redirection. When you stop chasing, you allow life to unfold without violence. You trust that what belongs in your life will not need to be begged for, and what leaves was never yours to control. Part 3. You cannot control other people. Epictetus taught that peace begins by clearly separating what is within our control and what is not. Your actions, thoughts, and choices are yours. Other people's feelings, efforts, and decisions are not. This single lesson can save you years of heartbreak. When you chase someone, you are trying to control something that was never yours to command. You may try harder, speak more carefully, become more available, sacrifice more, and bend more of yourself, hoping they will respond differently. But the Stoic sees the truth. No amount of effort can force genuine love, loyalty, or respect. You can invite, you can communicate, you can show care, but you cannot compel the heart of another person. And once you accept that, something powerful happens. You stop exhausting yourself in a battle you were never meant to fight. Stoics never chase because they respect the boundary between self and others. They know that peace comes not from controlling people, but from mastering the self. Part 4. Chasing destroys dignity. There is a hidden cost to always running after people. It slowly erodes your dignity. Every time you over-explain to someone who has already decided not to understand you, every time you double text just to feel seen, Every time you lower your standards just to keep someone near, you teach yourself a painful lesson, that your dignity is negotiable. The Stoics would not accept this. For them, virtue and self-respect were worth more than temporary comfort. They understood that there is a difference between love and self-abandonment, between effort and humiliation, between vulnerability and begging. To chase someone who does not value your presence is to place your worth at the feet of their indifference. And no relationship, no connection. Part 5. Neediness pushes people further away. Ironically, the more desperately people chase, the more distance they often create. Stoicism observes human nature clearly. People are drawn to steadiness, not desperation, to calm presence, not emotional grasping. When you chase, you communicate fear. Fear of being left, fear of not being enough, fear of being forgotten. Even if you never say these words aloud, your energy reveals them. And that pressure can suffocate any genuine bond. The Stoic does not try to secure connection through force. They understand that what is real grows best in freedom. Loyalty cannot be demanded. Affection cannot be hunted. Respect cannot be extracted. When you stop chasing, you create space, and in that space, truth reveals itself. People either move closer by choice or drift away by nature. Either way, you gain clarity. Stoics prefer painful clarity over false closeness. They would rather know where they truly stand than live in the illusion created by constant pursuit. Part 6. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. There is a quiet power in a person who knows their worth and does not beg to be chosen. Stoics understood that character speaks louder than desperation ever could. When you stop chasing, you begin standing. You stand in your values, you stand in your boundaries, you stand in your calm. And that stillness is far more compelling than frantic effort. People often believe they must prove themselves to be loved, but Stoicism teaches that your task is not to perform for acceptance. Your task is to live with integrity. The right people will recognize that, the wrong people will overlook it. But neither response should make you betray yourself. Self-respect changes the way you move through the world. You no longer plead for crumbs where you deserve care. You no longer confuse someone's inconsistency with mystery. You no longer chase what requires you to shrink. The Stoic does not ask, "How do I keep them?" The Stoic asks, "Am I keeping my own soul intact?" Part 7. Silence reveals the truth. One of the most powerful Stoic actions is restraint. Not everything must be followed, not every distance must be closed, not every silence must be broken. When you stop chasing and become quiet, you begin to see clearly. You notice who reaches out without being reminded. You notice who values you without being convinced. You notice who only responds when you chase, and who remains present even when you stop. Silence is uncomfortable because it removes illusion. Chasing can keep you busy and hopeful. It can make you feel as though you are doing something. But silence shows you the raw truth of the connection. The Stoics valued truth more than comfort, so they embraced silence even when it hurt. Because only in silence can you see whether the bond has mutual life or whether it existed only because you kept dragging it forward. That truth may wound you at first, but it also frees you. Part 8. Attachment creates suffering. The Stoics did not say, "Love is wrong." They said, "Attachment without wisdom leads to suffering." There is a difference. Love is appreciation. Attachment is dependence. Love says, "I care for you deeply." Attachment says, "I cannot be okay without you." And that difference changes everything. When you chase people, you often act from attachment. You fear the loss of them because you have tied your emotional stability to their presence. Their attention becomes your oxygen. Their distance becomes your panic. But Stoicism invites you to love fully without surrendering your inner freedom. It teaches that everything external is temporary, including relationships. This is not a cold view, it is a liberating one, because once you accept impermanence, you stop clinging so tightly. You begin to cherish people without trying to possess them, and if they leave, you grieve, but you do not collapse. The Stoic heart can love deeply and still remain free. Part 9. The right people do not need to be chased. One of the hardest truths to accept is also one of the simplest. People who truly value you do not require constant pursuit. They may be imperfect, they may be busy, they may struggle to express themselves. But if they genuinely care, there will be effort, there will be reciprocity, there will be some form of movement toward you, not only away from you. The Stoic pays attention to patterns, not excuses. They do not ignore repeated indifference just because they hope for hidden meaning. They do not romanticize emotional unavailability. They do not call neglect complexity. Instead, they look at what is real. Does this person show up? Do they communicate? Do they make room for you in their life? If not, then chasing becomes a form of self-deception. Stoics never chase because they trust evidence over fantasy. They understand that mutuality is not too much to ask. It is the minimum foundation of any healthy bond. Part 10. Rejection is not the end of your worth. Many people chase because they take distance personally. If someone leaves, ignores, or rejects them, they immediately feel diminished. They assume the rejection says something final about their value. But the Stoics would challenge this deeply. Another person's inability to choose you does not define your worth. It only reveals their choice, their capacity, or their limitations. It says far more about the circumstances and alignment than about your essence. If you do not understand this, you will chase endlessly, trying to reverse rejection so you can restore your self-image. You will not be pursuing love. You will be pursuing relief from wounded pride. The Stoic heals differently. They allow rejection to sting, but not to define. They remember that their worth comes from character, not approval. From integrity, not acceptance. From how they live, not how they are perceived. This makes them free. Because once you know rejection cannot reduce your value, you no longer feel compelled to chase anyone who failed to see it. Part 11. Chasing wastes emotional energy. Your energy is one of your most precious resources. Stoicism teaches you to guard it wisely. Think about how much emotional energy is spent overthinking someone's behavior, waiting for messages, replaying conversations, trying to decode mixed signals, and planning the perfect words to bring someone back. This is not peace. It is emotional labor poured into uncertainty. Stoics see this as misdirected effort. Why invest your life force into what offers no solid return? Why pour your mind into someone who does not meet you with clarity? That same energy could be used to strengthen your body, improve your mind, build your purpose, deepen your friendships, or restore your inner balance. The Stoic always returns energy to what is fruitful and within their control. To stop chasing is not only an emotional decision, it is a wise use of life itself. Because every moment spent running after the unwilling is a moment taken from your own becoming. Part 12. Calm is greater than possession. The world teaches people to measure success by what they can keep. The Stoics measured success differently. They asked, can you remain calm even when life changes? Can you keep your center even when something leaves? This is a much deeper power. Anyone can feel secure when they are constantly reassured. But can you remain whole when reassurance disappears? Can you stay grounded when someone withdraws? Can you keep your dignity when affection is not returned? The Stoic answer is yes, because their peace does not depend on possession. They do not need to own people, bind people, or secure people at all costs. They only need to remain aligned with reason, dignity, and virtue. There is immense freedom in this. You stop clinging, you stop panicking, You stop bargaining with reality. You understand that keeping your calm is more valuable than keeping every person. And once you know that, chasing loses its appeal. Part 13. Walking away is a form of wisdom. People often think walking away is weakness, as though staying in emotional struggle proves devotion. But Stoicism sees it differently. Walking away is often a sign of wisdom, restraint, and maturity. To walk away from what disrespects you is wisdom. To walk away from one-sided effort is self-respect. To walk away from confusion when you have already communicated clearly is strength. The Stoic does not leave at the first inconvenience, but they also do not remain in cycles that slowly wound their spirit. They know that endurance is noble only when the thing being endured is worth it. Suffering for the sake of illusion is not virtue, it is blindness. Walking away is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, a shift in energy, a refusal to keep explaining, a decision to stop carrying what should be mutual. And in that quiet departure, the Stoic does not lose power. They reclaim it. Part 14. Your life must be bigger than one person. When one person becomes the center of your emotional world, everything else begins to shrink. Your goals shrink. Your peace shrinks. Your identity shrinks. This is dangerous because it makes your life fragile. The Stoics believed in building an inner life so rich that no single person could become its entire foundation. This does not make love less meaningful. It makes love healthier. You need purpose beyond romance, meaning beyond validation, direction beyond attachment. When your life is rooted in values, discipline, service, learning, and inner growth, you stop making one person the source of your sun. Then, if someone enters your life, they add beauty, but they do not become your entire existence. And if they leave, the ground beneath you does not disappear. Stoics never chase because their life is too full of meaning to be reduced to on. Part 15. The greatest return is to yourself. In the end, the reason Stoics never chase people is simple. Every time you stop running after others, you return to yourself. You return to your center, to your standards, to your peace, to your clarity, to the quiet strength that was waiting beneath all the noise. Chasing scatters you. It pulls your mind outward. It makes you obsess over another person's decisions instead of tending to your own soul. But when you release the chase, your energy gathers back into one place, and that place is you. This is where healing begins. This is where dignity returns. This is where you remember that you were never meant to spend your life begging for what should come freely. The Stoic path is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming steady. It is about learning to love without losing yourself, to care without clinging, and to let go without breaking. So if someone is teaching you to chase, pause, breathe, step back, and remember, the one you must never abandon in pursuit of others is yourself.